Hey there, welcome to Warren. You are in Algebra 1, and just so you know, there are going to be 3 teachers that you will hear over the next year on these videos. The first one is Miss Crute, the second one is Miss Bloomfield, and the third one is me, Mrs. Lanio. If you have any questions at any time, you can raise your hand, ask one of us 3, whoever is your main teacher. We'll be around to answer it. Otherwise, take your time. If you need to stop and rewind, do it. That's the whole purpose of this video, so you can watch it over and over. So our first lesson we're going to do here is the introduction to variables and patterns. What we need to know is, what is a variable? Well, a variable is any letter, so A, B, C, all the way to Z, that can represent a number value. And this is any number. So if you have the value x, or the variable x, then you can have that value be 3, 4, 5, whatever you want it to be. So let's take a look at an example. We're going to simplify 4x when I give you the value of x is 3. So there's some steps to simplify. The first is to place parentheses where you see the variable. So when we rewrite this 4x, you're going to put parentheses instead of the x. So the x is now gone, and we're going to put something in there. The next step is to identify the value you will substitute, and that value is 3. So wherever you see those parentheses, you're now going to do step 3, put the value into there. So we're simplifying by placing that value into the parentheses. And if you think back to 8th grade, 7th grade, whenever you see a number next to parentheses, you know that's to multiply. So if you think about what is 4 times 3, or take out your calculator now, do 4 times 3, and your answer is 12. That's the basis of putting a value into a variable. So here's a couple more examples. If you would like, pause your screen, try the examples, and then watch as we go along and solve them. Or just follow along and let's solve. So you have 2x when x is 3. So again, you're going to put parentheses wherever you see that x value. You then need to identify whatever your x value is, and in this case we know it's 3. Again, it will not always be 3, so we substitute that into the parentheses, and again we have multiply, so 2 times 3 is 6, and that is your answer. Take a look at number 2. You have 2 plus y plus 5 when y is -9. So we've recognized that wherever we have a y, we're going to put parentheses, and we did that while we read the problem. We're now going to take that -9 and substitute it into the parentheses. So let's take this step by step. 2 plus -9 is -7. We didn't use this plus 5, so we're going to bring it down. And now you say -7 plus 5 is -2. And since there's no more operations, no more plus, minus, multiply, divide, then we're done. And you can circle your answer. For number 3, notice we have fractions, everyone's favorite. So we have k plus 3/4 when k equals 1/4. So wherever we see a k, our variable, we're going to put in parentheses. We're going to identify that our k is now equal to 1/4, and we can put that into the parentheses. And you have 1/4 plus 3/4. If you think back again, your denominator is the same, and that stays the same throughout. and you add your numerator. So your top number is 1 plus 3 is 4. If you can put this into your calculator, 4 divided by 4, you should get the answer of 1. Please try and simplify as much as possible. For problem number 4, we have d divided by, that's what that line is, 5, when d equals 60. So we're going to put parentheses where we see a d. Our value of d is 60, so that's what goes inside the parentheses. And if you take out your calculators, 60 divided by 5 is 12. If you have any questions on variables, you may rewind and rewatch, or raise your hand and your teacher will be around to help you. The next thing we're going to talk about is patterns. Patterns are when you see something going up by 2, when you see that every other block is blue. So if you're being able to see patterns, this should be easy. So patterns, there's many different ways to see patterns. Here we're going to talk about a few. So it says find the next 2 values in this pattern. Well, what do you see happening? Notice how it goes from 0 to 1, back to 0, then to 2, back to 0, then to 3. So every other 1 is a 0. So when you have that whole number, go back to 0. And then look at your numbers. It's going 1, 2, 3, 4. So what was our pattern? Every other number is 0. The other number goes up by 1. So you also have to be able to describe your pattern. Not every time is you're going to be given numbers. Sometimes you're going to be given pictures. So notice our smiley face is first looking at you right here. And then he rotated. So now his eyes are on the right. And then we rotated, and now his eyes are on the bottom. So if you have 2 more smiley faces to draw, you're going to rotate, but those eyes are going to be on the left. And then you're going to rotate again, and he's going to be back where he started. So just saying the rotation is the pattern. And lastly, you can find patterns through tables. So here's a hint. Find patterns for each column. So the first one we're going to look at is this X column here. We're going to ignore the Y column. And I want you to look to see what does each of these numbers go up by. So how do you get from 1 to 2? Well, you added 1. How do you get from 2 to 3? You added 1. Because you found the pattern, it's going to be the same all the way down. So 3 plus 1 is 4, and to double check our pattern, 4 plus 1 is 5. Take a look at the Y column now. How do you get from 5 to 7? You add 2. And you found your pattern. You only need to find 1 at this point. So you just find 1, write your pattern all the way down, and ask yourself, 5 plus 2 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. 11 plus 2 is 13. So to explain our patterns, the pattern on the left, every number went up 1 value. The pattern on the right, every number went up 2 values. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to rewind and rewatch. If not, please find a desk away from your Chromebook station and work on the in-class practice. Once you have completed the problems in the in-class practice, please raise your hand and your teachers will be around to check your work. Other than that, welcome to Warren again. Have a great day.